One of the most important people on set is the first assistant director, usually abbreviated as first AD or even just AD. Unlike the name might suggest, the first AD does not assist in any of the directing duties, nor is the first AD like a Dwight Schrute-style assistant to the director. The role of first AD is almost like the boss on set. They run the production so that the director can focus on the creative aspects of making the film. They usually know more about the production than anybody else on set and are keenly aware of the schedule and the budget. As we were setting up for shots, our AD would stay on me about the schedule and give me reminders like this.
So hey, Chad, it's 4:30.
Great.
It's 4:30. Let's try to shoot this at 4:45, okay?
For the role of first AD on The Assurance, I hired Gavin Booth, who I've worked with on several short films over several years. He has the perfect personality to be an AD.
All right, we're going to do it again?
Yep.
Bam!
Now, if ADs are too flexible and easygoing, then everything will get behind and everyone will walk all over them. But if they're too strict, they can talk you out of getting really important shots, and they can make the entire crew miserable, which can stifle creativity and make for an unpleasant work experience. The AD really sets the tone for the whole production, and Gavin is one of the best I've ever seen at that. He's also there to encourage me when I need it.
Hey, Chad, we got this. No. Seriously.
Also, Gavin was the bad guy when I needed him to be. When everyone got to set on our biggest day, Gavin welcomed everyone, but also laid down some ground rules.
Chad really needs to focus as the director on the action and everything. So if you observe something, you have a question or anything, come up to me or Bri. Bri's the second AD. Please just ask us, and we can tell Chad if we need, or we can take care of the problem. If you have any other questions, come to us. We can answer them.
That probably seems really rude that he would tell people to leave me alone, but that's one of the purposes of a first AD, to be like a defensive blocker so the director can focus. Because if I were to have said, everybody, leave me alone, that sounds terrible. If the crew resents the director, then they just don't give as much creatively. So there has to be this good cop, bad cop dynamic for the sake of the production. Also, Gavin is kind of more likable than I am, so even when he's being really tough, he never really upsets anybody. And that's another great attribute of a first AD that Gavin has. That being said, Gavin was super busy when I hired him. He was working on a feature film and also as a supervisor on the hit TV show Hoarders on A&E. He warned me that he wouldn't have much time to work on The Assurance, but I begged him to join our team anyway. In retrospect, I wonder if I should have hired maybe a less talented first AD that would have had more time and resources to give to our production. I met only once with Gavin in pre-production, very briefly to go over a rough budget. Ideally, we would have had a lot more time. There were several days of production where he just wasn't able to be there and we didn't have any AD at all. And as you'll see later in this training series, that could have helped us a lot. Also, when I showed up to set on the big shoot days, I was the only one that knew the schedule. And I was the only one who was familiar with the shot list and the setups and everything. That means that if anybody on set had any questions, they had to come to me and only me about it. So I couldn't focus on being the director. Now, Gavin did an amazing job. And when he was on set, he absolutely gave 100%. But typically the role of the first AD is to know everything about the mechanics of the shoot day, so they are the ones that answer all the questions so the director can focus on the creative nature of that job. Now, a few other things about the first AD. They're kind of like the face of the production, so they usually make the announcements, as we saw with the welcome. As we'll look at later, when we had to cancel the night shoot, it was Gavin that announced it to everyone. Gavin would call attention to safety announcements.
Everyone silence, please!
It's also customary to applaud for key cast members once they've wrapped, or in other words, once they finish shooting all their scenes for the film. And Gavin led that, as we can see here for the extras.
Thank you so much. You guys are so good.
And later when Andrew Tribolini had finished shooting all of his scenes.
Hey everyone, that's a wrap for Andrew! Yeah!
Another role of the first AD is to send out call sheets the day before a shoot. We'll talk more about call sheets in the next chapter. The first AD will also usually be the one literally calling shots before each take, which we'll also look at in the next chapter.
Quiet, please! Roll sound.
But this isn't a hard and fast rule. On a film set, everyone is always trying to get the director's attention, even on a small little short film like this. People have questions, comments, jokes. People have suggestions of how to do things better. A director can get overwhelmed with all the choices as it is, so they need a little help. Gavin did a phenomenal job of fielding no's as much as possible. He filtered what I really needed to know and passed that on to me. And that's the role of a first AD in a nutshell, someone that can manage the entire production so that the director can focus on the creative tasks at hand.